Setting up 1Password. Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. In recent months, for a variety of reasons, I've elected to change my password management solution. I've chosen 1Password. Now, I want to walk you through setting up a 1Password account. But before I do, I will give you the warning that 1Password is not free. I'll be setting up a trial of a personal account for personal use. But eventually, if you elect to continue to use 1Password, then yes, you'll have to sign up, enter a credit card, pay a monthly or annual fee. In my opinion, password management, a good password management tool, is worth the money. The security that it gives you is worth paying for. And I'm comfortable paying for 1Password. Personally, I'm using a 1Password family account because for a small increment, I get to include my wife at less than at less than twice the cost of a personal account. And we get to share things very easily between the two of us. One other caveat, I'm recommending 1Password, but I'm not making anything from the recommendation at this point. I've chosen it not based on their availability of an affiliate program or anything like that. Now, that's not to say that at some point I might not take advantage of such a thing, but I want to be clear that the recommendation comes based on the product, not on my ability to make any revenue from making the recommendation. So with that all out of the way, let's head over here to Windows 11 and get started. So we're running Windows 11. We'll just go ahead and fire up Edge. And yes, thank you. I've been updated to the most latest version. Wonderful. 1Password.com. The number 1Password.com is where we'll go. We will try 1Password free. There are two tabs here, personal and family, team and business. I'm assuming that your needs are specifically personal. As I mentioned when I started, that I've signed up for the family's account. You can actually have up to 5 members, but honestly, even if you have only 2 members, it's cheaper than having 2 individual accounts. We'll go ahead and do 1Password individual, because you can always upgrade. We'll go ahead and do 1Password individual to walk through the steps so that you can see what this is all about. And we'll create an account. This account will be for Leo, Ask Leo, Notenboom. And I want to put another quote in there. It wasn't letting me put a double quote in there, so we'll go ahead and add a single quote around the Ask Leo and use my very public email address. This obviously is optional if you want to get information from 1Password. Obviously, it'll be their marketing information, their updates, their feature updates, and so forth. I'm already getting this on my personal account, so I'm not going to sign up for more. It's up to you if you want to do that. So one of the things they do, obviously, is they want to make sure that you actually own the email address that you're signing up with. They do that verification by sending a code to that email address to make sure you have access to it and can enter that code. So I'm going to go ahead and find that. So I've gotten my code. We'll go ahead and type that in here and hit next. Now, this is the master password. If anything, 1Password probably doesn't do a good enough job of explaining exactly what the password is that you're setting here. This is your master password to what will eventually become your 1Password vault. I'm going to choose a rather long password. This is an example account, so I expect to get rid of it, but nonetheless, I'm going to use a long password because I should. So just for the record, just so you know, the password that I've entered is exceptionally long, 26 characters. It's all lowercase with some spaces. That's one of the things length really gets you, is you can be significantly less rigid about your character choice and your word choice as long as you make the password extra long. It does want a credit card. And this is part of the fact that 1Password is a free trial and not a free product. They will not charge the credit card today. As you can see, it's going to tell me that they're going to charge me in 2 weeks after my free trial is over. Now, in my case, I'm actually going to use a privacy.com card so that I can control whether or not that card should even be charged later on. So I'll take a second here and create that card. And we will go ahead and subscribe and create an account. Notice that you can create an account and add a card later. This is up to you, especially if you're not sure if you're going to continue. This may perhaps be the most appropriate path. But on the other hand, if you really do believe that you're going to end up using 1Password at some point anyway, subscribing and creating the account is probably the right thing for you to do. Okay, this is an incredibly important step. I cannot understate how important this is. You must, and I have to say must, download this PDF. We're actually going to look at the PDF here in a moment. So I've saved what's called my 1Password emergency kit. That's been saved in my downloads folder as a PDF file. And this is what you will use in 2 scenarios. One is when you need to open or install 1Password with your account on another machine. This has the information that you will need in order to do that. The other scenario is if, for whatever reason, you lose access to your account. This is the document that will have the information you need. I'm going to open it and show you. Normally, you should not show this document to anyone. And in fact, you need to, after we update it, and you'll see what I mean by that in a moment, you'll need to save it yourself in a secure location. That can either mean printing it off, or what I prefer to do is to encrypt it and store it digitally somewhere safe. But regardless, this is a sensitive document. It will be the keys to your kingdom should you ever need to get back into your 1Password account, so you need to treat it appropriately. I'll go ahead and double click on it. So what you're seeing here now is the contents of this emergency kit PDF. It has the address that you will use to sign in. This actually turns out to be important because some types of 1Password accounts actually use a slightly different address to sign in. The email address associated with this account. Something called a secret key. This is the magic. And then finally, your password. Note that they give you an opportunity to write it in. In my case, I have saved this PDF in a way that I can actually type my password in and save the resulting PDF with everything in there. The alternative is to print this PDF, write in your password, and then save that printed PDF somewhere secure. Totally up to you. But these 3 things, your email address, your secret key, and your password, are the things you need to gain access to your account. The secret key is something that's unique to 1Password. If you've used other password managers in the past, it's always been a simple email address and master password. This increases your security because the secret key is in fact completely random and it's very large. Now, the good news is that you only need the secret key when you install 1Password on another device for the first time. It's almost like a 2-factor. It's almost like a second factor at that point. But the bottom line is you really only need it once. Once you've got 1Password installed on a machine and you've successfully signed in exactly once, then all you will need after that is in fact your master password. Now, notice this setup code down below here. This is a QR code that can be used in lieu of typing in your secret key for mobile devices. So if you install the 1Password app on your phone, you can sign into your account by scanning this QR code. That will actually provide both the email address and the secret key. You will still need to type in your password. So it's not a one-shot to actually get into the account, but it does save you from having to type in that long, horrific secret key. The reason I save mine in digital format is depending on your PDF viewer, you can actually select the secret key and copy paste it to wherever you need it. In this case, Edge is being very problematic. Edge is a horrible PDF viewer. I tend to use Adobe Acrobat, but Edge is not allowing me to actually select that last character, so I would have to type that part in manually. But even so, it's much easier than having to type in the entire secret key should you ever need to. That's one argument for saving it in digital form, again, in some secure way. So with that out of the way, save the emergency kit. Here's your account. You have 2 items in your personal vault already. You have your 1Password account, which includes showing you your secret key. And once again, you can from here copy it. But again, if you're in a situation where you're setting up 1Password on a new machine, of course, you won't be able to sign into 1Password to get the secret key because you'll need the secret key in order to sign into 1Password. But this might be another way to get it over to you. There's your password. You can reveal it if you like. And basically, this saves for you also the information about your 1Password account. The other thing it does is it sets up one of these identity cards that can also be used to fill in things like names and addresses and phone numbers and all that kind of stuff if you want it to. In my case, it knows who I am. My name, in this case, Leo, askleo Notenboom, and then with some of the details associated with this account. Okay, we have an account, but it's not quite as useful as it should be just yet. What we really want is to install the browser extension for 1Password. That's where a lot of the magic happens. 1Password installs as both a browser extension and a downloadable Windows application that allows multiple different browsers to communicate with one another. I'm just going to install the extension right now. I'm just going to do a search, to be honest. 1Password extension, downloads. We can download it for Windows, or we can download it for our web browser. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and say download. This is Edge, which ultimately is the Chrome web store, the Microsoft web store. We'll get it, we'll add the extension, and we have installed the extension. Now you can see it says extension : so we know that we're operating in this extension installed into our browser. We need to sign in. We sign in now with just our password. You can see that because we were using this browser to set up our 1Password account, it already knows the secret key that's supposed to be used. And now we have it in the browser. Now, there are instructions here on how to save and fill things as you navigate the web. If I go to, for example, askleo.com and sign in using one of my many Ask Leo accounts, I've typed in my username and my password. That's the magic to save it to 1Password. Ask Leo, my username, and the password. You'll notice that the password here only shows like 10 characters. In reality, the password's about 20 characters long. And we'll save it. And now, of course, I can sign in using that password. Of course, I have that particular account configured to use 2-factor authentication. And I'm signed in. So that's how you save credentials, by hitting the Save button. If we now sign out, and I click in these fields, you'll notice that it's offering me the option to fill in credentials for me. And that's exactly what a password manager should do. Now I don't have to remember the password anymore. I need another authentication code because, like I said, this account has two-factor turned on. But the bottom line here is that 1Password has saved my passwords for me. Now, if I go back to the 1Password password manager page, you'll notice that it's timed me out. But it's kind of interesting because it's also offering to fill in the password for me since it knows its own password. It's kind of interesting that way. And there is, in fact, the new entry that was just created for askleo.com, my account, against this username and with my password. Over time, this is how you accumulate more entries in your password database. And over time, this is then what you would end up using to automatically fill in as you go through. But that's the bottom line for installing and using 1Password. It actually isn't that horribly difficult. It's just that it takes a few steps, and one of them, saving your emergency information, saving that PDF, is critical to maintaining access to your account in the future. Hope that helps. For comments, for updates, for related links and more, visit askleo.com/152844. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.